Hello, welcome to Principles of Economics for summer semester 2016-2017. My name is Edward Mariyani-Squire. I'm the unit coordinator for this unit, and I will be your lecturer and tutor as well. If you want my contact details, you can find them by going to the Views website for this unit and looking up the learning guide, downloading it. You'll find my contact details there. You can also find my contact details simply by typing my name into the search engine for the university website, or just type my name into Google, and you'll be able to get my contact details that way. That is my phone and email. Alright, this video is simply a short orientation video about this unit and what's involved in it. So let's get to it. First, let's just quickly go over what this unit entails in terms of its content. What's it about? Principles of Economics is, as the title suggests, a unit which is devoted to teaching about some basic core concepts that the vast majority of economists use to try and understand the world. The unit itself is divided into two parts, what we traditionally call microeconomics and macroeconomics. So the first half of the unit, that is weeks 1, 2, 3 and 6, are devoted to the principles or core theoretical concepts which most economists utilize to try to understand the functioning of individual markets or industries and the behavior of the participants in those markets or industries. That is, consumers and producers, by and large. It also looks at problems that can arise through the failure of markets or industries to achieve socially desirable outcomes, and how governments might seek to regulate those markets or those industries in order to solve those problems for the greater good. Macroeconomics is the second part of the unit. This is dealt with in weeks 7, 8 and 9. Macroeconomics looks at the economy as a whole. It doesn't focus on any particular industry. It tries to understand why does economic growth occur, what can cause a recession, how can unemployment be solved, how can inflation be regulated or kept under control. So it looks at how the economy as a whole functions and what would be traditionally regarded as basic problems which require solution. That is, avoiding recessions, avoiding high unemployment, and avoiding high inflation. And it also looks at the kinds of policies that economists, or governments really, utilize to try to control the macroeconomy in order to avoid those problems or to solve those problems, such as monetary policy and fiscal policy. So this is the essence of the unit Principles of Economics. It's important to note that this unit is delivered entirely online. There are no face-to-face classes. There are no face-to-face lectures or face-to-face tutorials. So, you will be relying very heavily on the Views website in order to complete this unit. On the Views website, you'll find everything you need to pass this unit. Of course, you'll find the learning guide, which you should download and read. You'll find lecture recordings, additional material to help you out with the textbook and the lecture material if you're not understanding it. You'll find the assessment tools and resources to help you with the assessments, and you'll find the discussion board. If you have any problems that arise over the course of doing this unit, then please feel totally free to contact me, either by phone or email, or by going to the discussion board, and you'll find a forum there called Ask Ed Questions, where you can post questions which other students can see, and I'll respond to those questions there. If you ask me a question either privately or on the discussion board, which is of sufficient general interest to the whole student cohort, then I'll respond publicly to that by, for example, making a video about it. Students have, in general, enjoyed doing Principles of Economics online. However, a pitfall which a lot of students have pointed out is that you require a great deal of self-discipline in order to do well or even just survive the unit. This is because there's no face-to-face classes, which seems to provide a kind of regulation over students' behaviour. Because there are no face-to-face classes, it's kind of left to you to do the work by set times. And that can be difficult because summer semester is over the holiday break period. It's very tempting to go to the beach or hang out with friends or family or whatever. So it requires a great deal of self-discipline, and so you have to be really mindful of that. I recommend that you set aside at least 2 whole days out of the week to devote to this unit in order to stay on top of all the material. If you do that, then you'll definitely pass the unit. This is a unit that is, if you like, content heavy in terms of understanding a theoretical framework. And there's a lot of pieces to that theoretical framework. So it's very important that you keep doing it on a regular basis. If you leave a long period of time of not progressing with the work, then it kind of builds up and can become too much to deal with. So I really recommend that you continually work at it each week in a really systematic, timetabled fashion. So if there's no face-to-face classes, how exactly should you study the unit? The approach that I would suggest to you is actually a very simple one. It's not complicated, it's not particularly innovative, but it works. And it's this. Each week there'll be at least one topic, or maybe 2 topics, which will have to be covered. So for each topic, you should do the following. First, watch the video that I've made from a previous semester and take notes on that video. These videos were recorded from the on-campus autumn semester last year. So it means that you're getting exactly the same content as a student who has done the unit on campus. So watch the video. Each video normally goes for 1.5 to 2 hours, so be prepared to get your coffee and biscuits ready and get your notepad ready and work through the video. It's very important that you pause it, you take notes, and then you progress through it. After you've done that, then you should go to the textbook, find the relevant chapter in the textbook that matches up with the video, and read through that and take notes on that as well. Now, you can find the match-up of the textbook chapter and the video chapter by going to the learning guide. It's very important that you take notes in both of these cases. If you just watch the video and you just read the chapter of the textbook, this is not going to really provide you with sufficient knowledge, because that knowledge will degrade very quickly. In order to really internalize that knowledge, taking notes is probably one of the best and oldest ways of doing that. By taking notes, it really implants in that lump of meat in your skull that content. Then once you've taken the notes, compare them. You'll notice that the video content and the textbook content complement each other. There's a fair bit of overlap, but the video, that is me giving a lecture, is not identical to the textbook. And it's not identical in two respects. One, the textbook will generally cover more material than the video. In the video, I can't cover absolutely everything. And two, in the video, I'll often explain something in a slightly different way to how the textbook explains it. And I might focus on different things to what the textbook focuses on, in some cases. So these notes are complementary. You shouldn't treat the video and the textbook as substitutes. They're not alternatives. They are two pieces of a puzzle that fit together. After you've done that, then what you should really do is test yourself to see if you've understood that material. So one way to test yourself is to do the 10 multiple choice questions at the end of the chapter of the textbook for that topic. You'll find the answers to those questions on the Views website, but test yourself first and then compare your answers with the correct answers on the Views website. You can also test yourself by doing an online practice quiz for the chapter, and you'll find a link to a practice quiz inside the topic area or the folder for each topic. Finally, if you've got any questions, if there's something in the textbook or the lecture that you didn't understand or seemed puzzling in some way, or you think you needed a bit of clarification on, or if you think that there's something wrong or something you don't agree with, then feel free to ask about it, either by phone, email, discussion board, carrier pigeon, raven, whatever you like. Please feel free to ask and I will answer your questions. Again, if it's sufficiently broad interest to the group, then I'll probably make a video response to it so that everyone can get the benefit of it. Now, I said that you should read the relevant chapter of the textbook, which is set out in the learning guide for each topic. What is the textbook? Well, the textbook is by Sloman, Norris and Garrett. It's called, creatively, Principles of Economics. It's in its 4th edition. There's a picture of it there. You can get it from the Co-op bookstore, you can buy it online, or you can get an e-book version of the textbook as well. Now to the pointy end of things. the assessment tasks. There are 4 assessment tasks for this unit. The first is a set of quizzes. Each quiz is worth 5% of your total mark for the unit, so 20% in total. Each quiz will be open for a week. And during that week, you can do the quiz in that time period. But the first quiz will close on the 11th of December. The second quiz will close on the 18th of December, and so on. So there's these 4 quizzes, and they will cover material from that week or previous to that week. There's also a blog to write. So this is where you're engaging your critical faculties and thinking more deeply about a particular topic. The blog is worth 15%. There's 3 blog topics that you can choose from. If you go onto the Views website and you click on the assessment 2 for the blog, you'll see there when you scroll down there are 3 topics to choose from. You only have to choose one of them, and you write a blog about that topic. You investigate that topic and report your findings. There's 2 dates of assessment for the blog. The first is on the 18th of December, where we just check whether you've started the blog or not. And the final date for submission is on the 22nd of January. You can work on that blog over the course of the entire semester, and I encourage you to do that. Do not leave it to the last moment, otherwise you won't be able to get it done in time. But it's a blog, so you can progressively work on it. You can make little entries every week, and you'll have a complete blog by the end of it. Third, there's the discussion board. Now, what we want you to do is trying to encourage you to engage online with each other, because there are no face-to-face classes. So we want you to go to the discussion board, and when you go to the discussion board, you'll see that there will be a link to a forum where there are a variety of topics that you can talk about. And there'll be some stimulus material there, and you can then react to that stimulus material in some way. And you get marks for writing comments in the discussion board. Basically, you get 1 mark per substantive comment that you write. It can't be something trivial like, yay, I agree, or something idiotic like that. It has to be something substantive, where you read someone else's comment, or you read the stimulus material and think about it, and then write some kind of considered response where you agree or disagree with what's being expressed on the discussion board. Each comment, each substantive comment, gives you 1 mark, up to 10 marks. So this is in total worth 10%. And you can do that all the way up to the end of the semester. It will close at the very end of the semester. Lucky last, we've got the final exam. The final exam will be held in the exam period, of course. It's worth 55%. It'll be composed of short answer questions and multiple choice questions. And it will test your knowledge over the course of the entire semester. A requirement to pass this unit overall is twofold. 1, you have to attempt all the assessment tasks. It doesn't mean you have to pass all the assessment tasks, but you must attempt them all. And second, you have to get an overall mark of 50 out of 100 to pass the unit. Remember, it's twofold. So, for example, say you did fantastically on the 4 quizzes, and let's say you wrote a spectacular blog, and let's say you absolutely smashed the final exam. So you're sitting on 80% already, let's say. That's ridiculous, but let's say. But then you didn't write any comments on the discussion board. You would fail the unit. because you didn't attempt all the assessment tasks. So it's very important that you participate in all of those things, and to the best of your ability. I think that's pretty much it. Again, if you have any questions, then feel free to contact me. But certainly your first port of call should be to go to the unit information on the Views site and download the learning guide and read through it carefully. I know this is a kind of a standard mantra that all unit coordinators say, but they say it for a reason. You really do need to read through the learning guide, especially the assessment task component. Note down the dates due, note down what's required, and be mindful of them, because, believe me, time will fly because you'll be having fun.